said like, did you play Zelda Breath of the Wild? No, I only played the Tears of the Kingdom. It's like, you basically skipped about the best part. The thing is that Tears of the Kingdom is really well done, but I like the setup of Breath of the Wild better. I see Tears of the Kingdom more as an expansion, expands on what was. But I found Breath of the Wild more engaging because it was new from that part, right? It was new. And how the story progresses and how you play through the game felt a little bit more than Zelda than me, and Tears of the Kingdom went more to the RPG factor of it, right? And I both played them basically to 100%, getting all the items, getting all the Korok seeds. So I've played them both to a level where some people just never get. But I still say Breath of the Wild over Tears of the Kingdom.
To the Pixel and Meeple Podcast, where we talk about games, board games, card games, and video games. Some oldies and some new ones. Episode number 7. Welcome,
7
Robin.
already?
Yeah, 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
This means also 7 months already that we're doing this.
Time is going fast.
But we're still having fun. That's the most important thing. In this podcast, we're going to stick to this format. So what we're going to do is we're going to share some game news. I'm going to share some board game news, some tabletop news. Robin, you are going to share some video game news, I hope, at least. And then afterwards, we're going to run through the decades. So the 20s, the 10s, the zeros, all the way into the 80s. Bring some games along with us, and at the end of the episode we're gonna rank them as we always do. And this one is gonna be very difficult for you, Robin, to rank. I brought some good games with me.
Okay. We'll see.
So, are you gonna start or am I?
Yeah, let's start with gaming news. So last episode I did a few topics. Now I'm going to do a few topics and a few releases as well, upcoming releases, because to be honest, gaming news, I think that there's one big thing I wanted to talk to you about, which is actually big currently in the gaming industry, and that's the hefty layoffs at everywhere, really. Developers closing down, layoffs here and there. And you see that across the board. So I think that one of the reasons is that there's more heavily use of AI, and they're trying to be more efficient, trying to use more AI, trying to create games with that as well. You see it not only with game development, but you also see it with other big companies like Microsoft and other stuff. They're replacing like simpler jobs with AI. There's also a bit of a stagnation within the gaming industry as a whole. The market seems to be a little bit more stagnating, so people are trying to be more efficient. So they see layoffs as well. For instance, they don't call it layoffs at Ubisoft, but it was soft layoffs. It's like we're transitioning you to another occupation, not with us.
But still a layoff, of course.
The thing is that
I think it's good that they are helping, right? But
details that I don't want to shut down by that. But you see, just across the board, there is a lot of layoffs. And to be honest, my main concern with that is that, of course, with the people involved, but secondly, also, what will it do with the quality of games that are coming up? Will it affect the quality of games? Right? That would be an interesting thing. Well, what's your take on this?
Yeah, I think it's a bummer, especially in the creative industry. I know AI has an impact, right? But for now, the stuff that I've been seeing, I'm not hugely impressed by it. And if that is, I don't know, a prediction or a forecast of whatever may come out in the near future, then my hopes are not really high. Of course, AI can do a lot of stuff in open world type of games and narrative storytelling, choices and those kind of things. But yeah, I still think there's a lot of work needed by the specialists. I'm assuming, at least. But yeah, if it is only concerning the AAA games, it's a bummer, especially for the people. But yeah, then again, also creates opportunities for indie games, which I'm a huge fan of. So
yeah, will be my number one on the list, by the way. That will be fun. I love that game. So yeah, I think that from the creative, the thing is that especially I can agree with you with like narrative or storytelling or that stuff. I would be sometimes fun to do, right? You have non-linear because the AI is just throws you everywhere, hopefully a right way. But there is also a certain creative process that I would like to stay with humans, because the thing is that we have seen it in the past, we can create a lot of good and beautiful stuff, and I just don't want that to be done by AI.
No,
Especially for myself, like I use AI to create pictures as well sometimes, like for ChatGTP or something simple, right? But if I want to have a real design, I wouldn't do it with AI for some reason.
no, definitely not.
I would do it different way. I want to talk to somebody that really understands me and what I want, and get something specific instead of being however AI generates those images. So yeah, I hope that creative process stays alive, especially with games. Okay.
But I have a bridge actually, because I brought news about a company as well, and Simon, that sells its global HQ and a huge IP, Call of Cthulhu, Death May Die, to Asmodee, which is Asmodee is almost the biggest monopoly player in the board game industry. Well, with this, it becomes even bigger. I'm not a, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a real Simon fan. They produce, I would say, high overproduced miniature board games and Kickstarters mostly as well. But yeah, I find it really hard to see companies like this struggle, and probably has to do with, the tariff situation that we had a year ago,
March. No,
or
it's not end of
or
March.
still happening actually today. Um, and it's making bigger fish even bigger, which is not per se a good thing for the tabletop industry as a whole. That's at least my opinion.
Yeah, I would hope that that will level out at some point, right? That you've seen it in the past as well, that still small creators just seem to push through, even if you have one really big player. Look at the gaming industry back in the day. You had EA. EA is still big, but there were also others that pushed through, got back, and now there are other players that are just rising through the ranks. So hopefully the market will do. The thing is that how good a company does has to do with the quality of games they are putting out. And you can produce all kind of crap, but if it's not a good game, it won't sell, right? So that is just hopefully that we're, and I think that if you have a small group that just have a little bit more creative atmosphere and really create good games, it doesn't say that those big companies cannot produce good games at certain point anymore. But it's just like I rather have a small team and just create something and go out of that. But yeah, always interesting.
I hope that they, well, get back their creative energy and create some new IPs as well and new franchises. They have, well, the Cthulhu Death May Die, but also Zombicide. I would love to see something new from them. And so yeah, that's my.
Okay. Quickly on, I quickly want to go through because last time we did way more news, so now I really quickly want to do all the upcoming releases, which I found a fun thing to do. So we have Europe Univitalis 5. So it's a grand strategy sequel, if you know, scheduled on 4th of November. We got Football Manager 26. I'm not really a fan of those games, but a lot of people are. November 20, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. It's a Zelda-style Dynasty Warriors game, which I just find fun.
All right,
So
sounds
I
cool.
love Dynasty Warriors, so this is just really fun. One game we're both are gonna play, which is coming the November 13th, which is Anno 117. For
Oh
some
wow.
reason, every Anno I have to play, and I play it like for 200 hours and then just drop it and never play it again. But
But this one in particular is, I'm so excited about it because it's also the Roman time.
which you really have invested in as well with a lot of books and stuff like that, so I can understand that. And it's Anno, so hopefully they improved on it, and that's really fun. Call of Duty Black Ops, and why I find that interesting is that Battlefield 6 of course released, which is I think received very well,
It's
but
taking over the internet.
but you say that I haven't seen it, but it really depends on what you watch. But Call of Duty Black Ops 7 is coming out, so it would really be nice how it pairs, because from what I heard is Battlefield is moving a little bit closer to how Call of Duty is doing it, but still have that really realistic Battlefield feel. So I'm just wondering what will happen in the overall market and between.
My prediction is that Battlefield will stay and will outrank Call of Duty.
Yeah. Okay. That's a bold
That's my
prediction.
prediction.
It's a bold prediction to make. So those are the upcoming releases that I found interesting. So yeah, I think that we can go to the first segment.
Yeah, well, I have still one new news item which I want to bring, and also one release. So since we're sticking with the releases anyway, I want to mention that Brass Pittsburgh. So it's the third iteration on the Brass sort of like games. So yeah, the first one was Brass Lancashire, then Brass Birmingham, and this one Brass Pittsburgh. Yeah, this is stated in the US. Add a few more things to it. Sounds interesting. Don't know if I'm gonna pitch in because yeah,
Is it
they
actually
look.
just that much different, or is this the core game still the same?
No, there are a few mechanics that has been added. Sounds interesting, but I don't know if it's enough for me to pledge and if it's different enough from Birmingham.
You have too many games anyway, so
Yeah, but that
and
doesn't.
you already have Birmingham. So this is always a challenge which you
Whoa,
have
why?
if you.
I mean,
Yeah, the thing is that Lancaster was Birmingham was an upgrade of Lancaster. Most people say where Lancaster was a little bit more difficult and Birmingham was a little bit more friendly to players.
mhm.
And now you have Pittsburgh. If it is just a cheap rehash, I just don't. I just don't. And I've talked about this on the podcast before. I don't want this to be a June Uprising the second, right? I really hate that. That's just so bad.
By the looks of it, for now, it doesn't look like it. But is it enough for people like me that already have the game, the Birmingham?
Mm-hmm.
I do have to say that I'm a bit picky, but so Lancashire, Birmingham, both English, right? Why the hell would you go to the US? Why not stay within the theme and pick just another one in within England? Anyway, but that's me being picky.
Marketing wise, you would say it would be to go
Yeah,
towards
I know.
more
For the
American
US
audience,
industry, it's the biggest
marketing.
one. Yeah, I know.
I can understand.
Yeah, fair. But I wanted to bring one news item on the table. You brought Catan, and they're making a live action movie about Catan.
I read about that. How is that going to work? How are they actually like? Do you want my sheep?
I did not understand. So I thought like I was blown away by this news, and I was like, wait, perhaps they are making a making of. That is not interesting, but could be interesting for some people. But no, they're actually making a live action movie about Catan. But the what? You have settlers, okay, and then you have places where you have sheep and wood, and then you're trading.
And do you want my sheep?
Boom! Wow, man,
Wow.
I'm gonna be totally blown away. I don't know who brought this money and who got the money, but the person that got the money is extremely smart.
But the thing is that I'm still interested in watching that. It's like, what the hell are you gonna? How do you translate a board game like Catan? There are way better board games where you can make a story of. But Catan is just, I trade my sheep. It's like, hey, can I have your sheep? No. Okay, bye. Can I have your wood? Do you want my wood and my sheep? What the hell?
I still don't know.
I'm
curious. I'm probably gonna
too
watch
much
it.
money, or they just ran out of ideas.
Yeah, they probably thought, hey, this is a good selling game, so probably there's something in it. I haven't played it, but yeah, there are people that are interested in the game, so why not make a movie about it?
Is it a movie or a series? So was it a movie or a series?
No, a movie.
It's a movie. Oh, it's even worse.
No, I would.
I was like,
what is worse? If you can make
understand.
a whole series about Catan,
they can do everything these days.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I'm just blown away. Anyway,
okay.
Let's just start with the 20s.
Yeah, I'm gonna start right away. So this game just came left field, hit me in the head, and I've been addicted to it ever since. It actually released like 5.
Should I do a drum roll now?
No. It released 5 days ago. I didn't even know it was existed. It just popped up my YouTube. It's like, oh, what's this? And I watched it, and I bought it that evening, and I've been playing it ever since. It's Super Fantasy Games, Super Fantasy Kingdom, and it's a roguelike from an indie developer, which I like, or what we both love. And it is a strategy game based event game, basically. So basically what you do is that you build your base on specific plots, and you build a quarry, you build a you build a lumber yard, you build all other kind of things, and you basically get resources, and you're starting with your starting hero, and you're basically defending your base, and you're going wave after wave, right? So at midday, the first waves of monsters come in, and basically as the evening progresses, they enrage and they are trying to kill your hero. When your hero dies, you lose, and you can try again. You basically have a little bit of a groundhog day. Every time you lose your hero, you lose, and you have to start at day one again. So what
So
make
it's tower defense kind of like.
Yeah, but it's more base defense. So I don't really like tower. It's not like tower defense, and more base defense. So you basically are like you're defending your base with heroes. So during the days you progress, you get more heroes. You have synergy between the heroes, which is fun. But the fun thing is that the further you come, you unlock things in your map. You unlock new spots in your map, and when you reset, when you lose, everything resets except your map progress. So what happens is that you unlock things through multiple runs, and you can unlock bonuses. So every time you unlock something else, you get a little bit more of a head start. So you can do
Mm.
better and better and better. So it snowballs you a little bit like that. And the thing is, you have a lot of different starting heroes. You have a lot of supporting heroes where you need to find the synergy. There's a lot of elements, but it is fairly simple. If you do a full run, it takes about an hour. So it's a game that you can do pretty quickly, and just right, you do really quickly, and you go and you're trying to get through all the days and win at the end. And you just go through it, but it's just trying to get better, trying to find the synergies, and trying to play out the game. And I'm just working on the human kingdom, but you also have the undead kingdom. And because it's in early access still, they're also working on other kingdoms. But there is a certain amount of depth in that game where you're trying to find the synergies to fight off these hordes. And it just, from some reason, it took me, and I'm just addicted to it ever since. It's just, I already have like 30 hours logged in that game. It's ridiculous. It
When was it launched? This year or
it was 4 or 5 days ago, and I already have
5 days?
30 hours in. I have to check. I have to check. I don't have to lie. No, I've got 23.1 hours in it. It launched 5 days ago.
Okay.
Meaning I was just nonstop going for it and trying to get for it. But the thing is that the whole progression, you can do it you can do a run in an hour. A lot of synergy with different heroes. You can unlock a lot of different stuff. It's a small game, but there is so much thought behind it, which really pushes a few buttons for myself. It's just fun to do. I was looking for a new game just to get a little bit of vibe and just relax and stress release. And this is like, oh, I go for it. It's just so much fun to do.
What can other indie game publishers learn from this game?
I think that in the core, it's really simple. All right. In the core, what you do is really simple. But they did a lot of things to create a lot of depth in there, which is for me is what they did. And if you're looking at normal base defense or tower defense, it's not like you don't want to do the same thing over and over. Trying to Here you basically progress, and you keep your progression, which really gives you a sense of that you're achieving something instead of only a score. There's also a leaderboard where you can see where you're in the leaderboard in the worldwide, but it does show you have a certain progression, not only in the leaderboard, but you also have a progression within the game itself. And that's fun. It's like, oh, how can I get past this? How do I need to pass these barriers to get that progression? Because it's a constant like, oh, I want to get that thing. I want to unlock that. How do I do that? And you basically also manage your runs on that. And it's damn hard. It's not easy as well, right? You need to be really good with resource management on how you assign your workers or on the different things you need to do. So, man, it's just a lot of fun. It looks fun. The music is okay. Is also really good. It's just very well designed. And hats off to the designers in that. And still,
Sounds
it's
very cool.
Yeah, it's for me. And the thing is that when I bought it, I was like, it was $10, right? So I was like, it's not even that money. And if I spend $10 and if I spend more than 10 hours on it, I basically have. I always value euros in my time. So if I spend $10 and I play more than 10 hours, it's like $1 per hour. So I really got my fun out of it. And hopefully, I'm also going to support them in the future if they release more DLC or any stuff like that. But yeah, this is a game where where I'll probably spend a lot more hours in there, but also just regularly pick up just as like, oh, I need to get another run in, or I'm trying to
Cool.
get a little bit farther. Yeah, roguelike, strategy based defense, cheap, fun, creative. Definitely, if you like those kind of games, or if you just want to try something new, definitely a good pickup.
Can you name one con to this game?
One con in the beginning, especially, is that some things are not really that apparent in the beginning, right? So you're trying to progress, and I was stuck at some point. It's like, how do I can actually progress farther than this? Because it at some point it just gets ridiculously hard, and if you just don't do a few things right, you basically lose. In some cases, just doesn't really tell you that. Oh yeah, you need to go on your boat as fast as possible, right? You need to do a shipyard and you need to get a boat so that your boat goes per day. Those kind of things is not really, they don't tell you that well. So there are some things there that the developer can tweak, but they're still tweaking here and there. So and that's something that I think they need to work on a little bit. But other than that, it's yeah,
So what was the game?
it's a Super Fantasy Kingdom.
Super Fantasy Kingdom.
Yeah, it says a super name. At least I found it funny.
Nice. So my pick is a board game, and it launched in 2021. It's a game by Flat Out Games. You have it on the shelf as well. It's Cascadia. It's a puzzle tile laying game with an nature theme around it. It's quite an abstract game, to be honest. I mean, the theme is there, but it's mostly about the puzzle itself. What you're going to do is you're trying to build your own map in front of you. You have a couple of cards and tiles laid in front of you like a draft, and you try to pick the right animals and the right tiles to make your own shapes and your own patterns. And those patterns will score you points. The best patterns that you can build, or the most patterns that you can build up, wins the game, of course. I think this surprised a lot of people back then when it was released. It's still doing really well. It still comes with quite a few expansions. And what I love about this game is it's quite easy. They call it a gateway game. I would just say this is, if you are interested in board games, played Catan, want to try something new with your family, well, this is quite an easy way to get something on the table. And I haven't got in touch with someone that really dislikes or hate the game. So, and there's still enough meat for also players that have been playing more board games or more frequently, more strategic and more heavyweight board games. So I would say it's easy to learn, but there's still enough depth in it to try and master your own strategies. And it looks cool.
Yeah, for me, this game is you throw it on the table really easy. Well, like setup is 5 minutes. If you're looking for, especially I was looking for playing games with my wife a little bit because I like board games and I wanted to play board games with her as well. But she doesn't really like those really complex kind of board games that you and me play, which takes
Mm.
hours. But this game is really good for just throwing on the table. It's really easy to understand, and she actually enjoys it as well. So that's a really game. If you have trouble, you want to get your wife or your spouse or your partner in board gaming, this is a really good game to start with. It is easy, it is fun, it also tickles you a little bit to think because it is easy to put tiles down, but you really have to think on where do you put your tiles, not only to get your group of animals together, but also where do I place my tile, when do I do X, when do I Y, Z. But there's only a few things you can do. It makes it really simple to its core, but it's still hard to get a lot of points. But I think what it does really well is really what you said. It's like a gateway game for a lot of people that want to get in board gaming but don't know what to start with. This is just, I would recommend if somebody is like, oh, I want to do something with my wife or something like that. What kind of game do I need to pick up? Cascadia is my number one. Right? No
I
contest.
fully agree. And there are a few, if I have to name a few cons to the game, I would say they don't outweigh the pros. Definitely not. But the luck factor of the draft could be, and especially if you play with more multiple players, then people are picking just the stuff that you want to get and build out your own map. And the other thing is, if you have been playing, I have been playing the base game only, so I cannot judge the expansions, but the effects on the cards, you have animals
Mm-hmm.
and patterns. The effects on the cards are quite similar. They're just quite nuanced. They have a few nuances, but the variability could have been a little bit more. But then again, it makes it still easy and understandable for a lot of people. And this is just the major perk of this game, I would say.
One, if I would say a con for this game, I would say uh, it is over too easy. You said like you have the luck of the draw with the tiles. Basically, everybody gets about 12 to 13 turns, if I'm correct. You
Yeah,
have 20.
roughly.
You have 25 tiles or 26, something like that. And it would be nice if you have extra tiles and you can, based on how long you want to play, you can add tiles, right? If you say,
Mm.
oh, you can like have 40 tiles, so you can also put 40 tiles on the table and you can play with more. So it makes it a little bit of, then you can do a little bit longer playing. Like a game like this takes about 20 minutes. So if you can just stretch it to 30 minutes with just a few extra tiles, you could maybe add a little bit more. Then it would be a bit more strategy wise on, you have a bit more chance if you're unlucky with your draws to get some things in. That would something I would just at the top of my head would maybe benefit this game.
Cool. Moving on to tens.
Yeah, I'm picking a game that you talked about before, and this has two reasons. I know how far you where you are with the game. And I just, especially now that you can play it on the Switch 2 as well, and
I
there's
already know it.
and
Yeah.
there's a lot of discussion which one is better, the first or the second, and maybe I have a controversial opinion. Um, so if you have a Switch 2 and you never played, and I was talking last to somebody, that's why I was triggered. They said like, did you play Zelda Breath of the Wild? No, I only played the Tears of the Kingdom. It's like you basically skipped about the best part. The thing is that Tears of the Kingdom is really well done, but I like the setup of Breath of the Wild better. I see Tears of the Kingdom more as an expansion, expands on what was. But I found Breath of the Wild more engaging because it was new from that part, right? It was new. And how the story progresses and how you play through the game felt a little bit more than Zelda than me, and Tears of the Kingdom went more to the RPG factor of it, right? And I both played them basically to 100%, getting all the items, getting all the Korok seeds. So I've played them both to a level where some people just never get. But I still say Breath of the Wild over Tears of the Kingdom. Well, Tears of the Kingdom has a lot of fun elements in there, and it really expanded on it, and that's awesome. I just say Breath of the Wild was for me better storytelling and in all that sense, especially the storytelling in that I found really engaging over Tears of the Kingdom. But yeah, Tears of the Kingdom was like it's just
Yeah,
one point
small.
beneath it, right? Something like that. Because the storytelling in Tears of the Kingdom is also really good, but it just veers off a little bit, of course, what would be typical Zelda, and this would be just I find it slightly better. But
This
my
is almost the game that we have been talking about during all our episodes, right?
yeah, finish the damn game then.
I just want to. I find it funny, right? I mean, it's this is our perk.
But how far did you come? Because you gave me a WhatsApp. It's like, oh, these titans are really awesome. Where are you in the story?
I think I did quite some shrines here and there, and I was thinking, okay, is this the game? And then I was thinking, no, this could not be the game. Yeah, I'm missing something. So I looked at my quests and I was like, okay, this is the storyline, I'm assuming. Okay, let's go for it. So I went to the first Titan. I could pick one of the four, and I picked a random one. And I think it's the most played or most obvious one. I don't know why. Perhaps it's the most close by. It's the water Titan.
The game naturally throws you towards the water as the first one.
Okay.
That's naturally how the story is. The thing is, it's non-linear, so you can do any one if you want.
Yeah.
You can also go through the mountains and stuff like that. But because it's the closer to your starting position, it's naturally to start there in that
So
sense.
what I find really cool, and that's what you get in the first parts, right, with the shrines and everything. Then you get that. Have you ever played Portal?
Only a bit, not a lot.
Yeah, okay, but that physical puzzle element, what you have in Half Life Two as well, I really like that about this Zelda game. That you throw this in, and it works, because getting these puzzles working with physical, elements, things that you have to rotate, balls that you have to coordinate and manipulate and whatnot. And then I went to the first Titan, and knowing that you can also control the damn dungeon was,
Yeah,
oh wow.
it's pretty fun. And it is fun how they did that. It is fun how they just made those dungeons and how they did that. Yeah, it's really cool. A really cool concept on how they do the dungeons. It still feels like a dungeon, and that is really well done. It really feels like
Yeah,
those dungeons.
you have to have those particular things, right? You have to get the map of the dungeon, you have the point of where to go, and so there are very specific Zelda things.
And you always miss the last thing why you cannot progress, and you always run by it in the freaking beginning, and you're like, why did I miss that? And that's always the same thing. But yeah, okay, that was my entry for this episode. So, what's your entry?
It's an open world video game set in Western, so now you should know.
Ooh,
Uh,
Red Dead
Red Dead
Redemption.
Redemption 2. So it's the sequel. And I would just basically say this. I already loved Red Dead Redemption, the first one, the original one, but this one blew it completely straight out of the water. It's a game made by Rockstar Games, as you probably know, the guys that have built Grand Theft Auto as well. Everything that you would like to do as a, in a Western, as a cowboy or as an outlaw, you could simply do. Bounty hunting, marshaling, whatever you can think of, you can do. Buy horses, even sort of pimp your horse. So all the stuff that you had in Grand Theft Auto, but then they sort of ported it in a completely different setting, which is extremely cool. But what
Pimp
it
Your Horse.
really made especially special is the storyline. So it's like a prequel to the first one, but it's so extremely engaging. It could almost be, if we were talking about making a movie out of a game, they should be making a movie out of this game. This is pure story writing as at its peak. And they added online gaming to it as well, and Grand Theft Auto 5 was exemplary of how well you could do and expand and keep your game alive. So I was doing this with my brother, and we were both hoping, for that same type of experience. They did not add a lot of stuff. So yes, you had some bounty hunting, but they added quests along the way. But the speed that they added those things along the way, clans were only, I don't know, half a year in, and there were no raids or whatsoever. So it stalled for me, and that also got me out of the game. So that is a con. But all things that were already good with the original game, they took it just up a notch. multiplied it by two. And I think it's extremely difficult building a sequel.
Yeah. I have to confess, this is one of the games that is on my list, but I still have never played. To my regret, though, because it's been regarded as one of the best games that has been made. So it's not a genre which I typically go through. So that's one of the reasons why I didn't really play it or really sort it out. And it came out, I think it started on did it PC as PlayStation, right? So PlayStation.
I have it at PlayStation.
Okay. Yeah.
So you can borrow it if you like.
Maybe I have to because I still want to go through it. But that I also said about Witcher 3, which is sitting collecting dust in my Steam library for the last 4 years. But yeah, time is just a problem sometimes. But okay, good entry.
Moving on to the zeros.
Yeah, something you know about me. Sometimes I just get a nostalgic vibe.
That's why we're doing this, right?
And I just need to have that itch being scratched. So I haven't bought it yet, and I haven't installed it yet, but I'm gonna do that. I was just looking for a strategy game. That's why Fantasy Kingdom just maybe came into my YouTube channel before, but I was just looking for a new kind of strategy game. I've been playing a lot of ARPG Souls, and I just wanted to go back to my roots where I was always playing strategy games and stuff like that. So I just wanted something different. And one of the games that I really enjoyed is this goes back in towards my nostalgia for strategy games, but also my nostalgia for sci-fi. So I'm really sci-fi fan. I don't care about it is Star Wars, Stargate, Star Trek. It doesn't really matter which one. I love them all, and I don't find the other better than the other. I just love them all as long as I can. And this one is Star Trek Armada 2, which I loved in the strategy game. It was just give me a Galaxy class starship and let's shoot some Borg. Build stuff, get some resources, and shoot some ships. And to be honest, it was quite simple. It was published by Activision. It was developed by Mad Dog Software. It wasn't CNC Generals, but it was just a combination of getting resources, get your fleet together, and shoot the others. And it did it really well. It did it really well in Star Trek. I think for me, it's one of the best Star Trek games they have made because it was a pretty good strategy game. It wasn't really doing under for other games. I think that CNC Generals and those kind of strategy games are better. But this one, if you're looking at a game, they transformed and they have a license for, right? In most cases, one other exception is Battle of Middle Earth, but in most cases they just butch it up a little bit because they're trying to push it in too much. And this was just to build ships, get ships, fight with ships, win. And to be honest, I also have like just fun memories with it.
So I'm looking at the pictures as well. I did not play this game. So you jump into a map. And then you cannot build a base, of course, but
Star base.
You have a star
you
base.
start with you have a star base. You start building some ships from. I can't remember exactly how the whole build order and stuff like that was, but you can just build ships, and that's with the ships you're trying to defend your resource gathering from deuterium for your workhorse and stuff like that, and you're basically decreating your fleet and just gonna do some killing. So
cool. And did
fun.
you download and install the original one or the one of the iterations?
No, the second one. So Star Trek Armada 2. So Star Trek Armada 2 is the people that go for. You can still seem to play it on GOG, so I was investigating that, but I got some mixed messages, so I'm gonna see for that. But yeah, that's a game that I definitely gonna download this year and just try to see if I can get working on a Windows 11 PC again and fight. So yeah,
I'm gonna go to 2000 Millennial. And it's a board game, and you brought in Catan. So I thought, which influential game can I bring in that was launched around that time? It's Carcassonne.
okay.
Since well, this is also a puzzle tile laying game, same as Cascadia. So what you have to do is, well, every round, pick a tile and lay it in front of you, and you build together. So not yourself, but you build together a whole map with cities, farms, roads. Try to claim one of those, close the cities, make the longest roads and close roads, and also and this is where most of the people lose the game. place the damn farmers on the right spots, because that at the end of the round, that normally determines who is the winner. And I love this game because I love puzzling, but this game has a high interaction as well. So most of the puzzle games, it's more like a solitary game. Like I do my puzzle, you do your puzzle, and the end of the game, you score some points, and yeah, well, the one with the most points wins. But this one, you can backstab each other. You could sneaky place a tile nearby to close off a city that someone else has started and then grab the points. Or I love it. And I was actually quite surprised when someone else brought this to the table, and they were saying, "Yeah, I love this. It's just like a easygoing picnic type of game. We're not harassing each other, and we're doing it easygoing." And I was like, "What? But that's not what this game is about. So, are you sure you are inviting me to play along?" And I was playing along, and I was completely harassing everyone and destroyed their whole
And that was the
experience.
last time you got invited, right? It's like
For this game, yes.
going back into like your earlier iteration or your earlier pick as well. This is another really gateway game for people to play. And one of the things as well, at least that is my memory, but you need to validate that, is this one was one of the first games where you didn't start with a gaming board, right? Everybody was just used to Catan or something like that, or basically, oh, you draw the board game out of. But here you create the board, right? You pick tile by tile, and you're creating the board. Cascadia has some in that as well, in some extent. But here you just play together and trying to create the game board and trying to add stuff constantly. And that was also something new. And I think that's why it was so popular as well, as it tried something new and did it really successfully as well. And I think that there was a lot of iterations where that was adapted on, right? Or people wanted to do a similar thing, but never did it as good as Carcassonne, because also simplicity, easy, it's just tiles, putting down your farmers, getting points, and trying to harass and backstab people for some reason. I'm not sure why you're so evil. Maybe
I am just evil. That's me.
if you ever get to the gate in heaven, it's like, yeah, you backstab people in Carcassonne, you're back to hell. It's like maybe it's like, ah, shit. Yeah, another game, a gateway game. I have it myself, of course.
Yeah, I'm happy that you brought this specific mechanic in a way. Like, I think it's quite underestimated how much people like and love the creation part of this game, right? You're creating your map in front of you together. And I think other games still do that in a way, like building it, but mostly on your own. The last iteration on Clank, they do it as well. Then you build out the dungeon sort of together. But it is a highly regarded kind of feature to a game that I think could be leveraged more than we are doing today.
Yeah, but I think especially if you're looking at that, you're playing with other people, and it's like, oh, I didn't think about that. Oh, it's like, oh, what is he doing? Why is he doing that? It's like, oh, he's doing that, right? So people can get very creative, and it will be really funny how that actually works overall. So yeah, that kind of game it was really good. Okay.
I have to name a few negatives to this game as well. One negative is the higher the play count, the more difficult it is to plan your own strategy. So then the only strategy that kind of leaves out or leaves for you is just grind. Get the points as fast as possible. Close off your cities as fast as possible. Your roads, etc. Score, and then I don't necessarily like this game that much. But with, I don't know, 2-3 people, well, bring it to the table, and I will get my knife as well. Get going.
I've been playing board games with you very long. I always know that the knives are sharpened. So yeah.
Going to the 90s.
So for this one, I go for StarCraft, especially Blood War. So StarCraft, I think that one of the best strategy games there is ever is. There is StarCraft 2. How old is that already? 10 years and it still has an esport going. Well, it's not that as popular, but I think if you're looking at StarCraft, especially Blood War, how long that went, it was actually televised in Korea. It was just such a good game by Blizzard. It was actually awesome how they created the Zerg, how they created the story, how they created Raynor, how they created Protoss, and it just matched it all together. And I don't know if you ever played the story, but the story was really well done as well. Next to actually the multiplayer and actually the PvP and strategy, right? It was really well done, but the story was also like awesome. StarCraft 2, they turned it up a notch, but it was such a good game. Normally I'll play Terran and you normally play Zerg if I
Yes.
recollect. But it was such a cool game. It has all the mechanics and turned it up 3 notches. It was fast paced. It was quick. I think it really developed a lot of things that weren't in other games, especially if you're looking at multiplayer strategy games, PvP, 1v1, rushing, stuff like that. Because if you're looking at other games in that era, talking about Command and Conquer and all that kind of game, they didn't really have that on that level. So it created a lot of things within the multiplayer scene as well. Well, you can say that Dune 2 and Command and Conquer are a blueprint for strategy games, and I think that StarCraft probably borrowed something from that. It created something and it became a blueprint for future games, right? It's something that also became a blueprint for like how do we want to have strategy games be multiplayer? What do we need to take care about? How is it popular? It got televised. How did it actually was on TV? I still, if I think back at that, it's like looking at how Korea was so much far ahead with basically esports, where you basically had celebrities playing StarCraft. I wanted to go. I don't mind coming home and just turning on my and having a StarCraft match back then. You didn't have widespread internet like we have now, and then you have these televised matches, which is just for me it's bonkers that actually existed. But it also says how really popular um, and good the game actually was.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, we had other strategy games quite a lot. And I think from the same maker, they had Warcraft as well. But I don't know. I think they put so much focus on the multiplayer aspect of this game, like test and balance the hell out of it, and making the factions as asymmetric as possible. The three is it's just insane. I was a bit anxious about StarCraft because it had some vibe around it that you need to be very high skilled in order to be able to play this game. So it threw me off a bit once I got to a hang of it and played also with the expansions, because I think there were two
Yeah, you had
expansions.
Blood War. You had StarCraft. You had Blood War. I don't
Yeah,
know if there's
one.
another expansion, but you had Blood War, and Blood War was one of the being played most.
Yeah, I fell in love with that game. And for me, that was also the reason why I made the jump for StarCraft 2 as well. I played that one more and more intensively than the first one. Yeah.
No, but
Kudos. It has such high influence in the whole strategy genre.
yeah, but it increases terms of micro, right? Microing
Yes.
all single units, macro making your building,
Yes.
APM, so actions per minute. And if you saw some of those Korean players, they had like an APM timer, and you're like looking at those numbers, it's like, what the hell are they doing? They were just tapping all these. They were just basically doing everything with
It
hotkeys
looked
and stuff
like
like that. It
as
was,
if they were connected to the Matrix
and
or
if they
something
have
like.
had another hand,
Yeah.
like like how the hell could you do that? The amount of thought and practice that goes in there is just ridiculous. And it created all those terms, right? I haven't heard it before that, and actually microing how you do specific units while also basically building at the same time and keeping your micro up and your micro up. And I watched a lot of because to be honest, I wasn't bad at the game, but I wasn't that good either, especially if you're looking at how, if you watch the spectator view and then you had these commentators going and it goes left right and then you saw it like how they, it was just ridiculous. But
Nuts.
yeah,
Nuts.
a good one.
another open world game. And I mentioned Grand Theft Auto, and people mostly gonna think about Grand Theft Auto 3 and San Andreas, but I am bringing Grand Theft Auto 2. So this is still the top-down view game. Oh man, I played both Grand Theft Auto, the first original one, as well as the London version. But this one was just wow. They added so much freedom in this 2D world where you can do shootouts, steal cars, do some wacky things, all things that you are known from all Grand Theft Auto 3D type of games. They already brought it in the 2D version. But what it made exemplary for me is it was just pure hilarious. You had so many wacky things with a bazooka, or you could steal a fire truck, and you had some extremely insane assignments that uh, how well, we were talking about creativity, right? Well, AI could never thought of Grand Theft Auto 2. um, it had to be thought of by a human, all those crazy stuff. And if you pissed off the police, then at a certain moment the army came with their tanks, and within a few minutes you were busted. Just completely thrown off by some grenades or some bombs. It was just pure fun. And you could pick a side, so you had three mafia clans that you could favor. All three mafia clans had their own sort of assignments, and that could be busting someone out, stealing cars from another, or doing a shootout at their restaurant, or well, just name it. Yeah, for me, pure highlight. And still have a lot of fun memories about that game.
It's one of the Grand Theft Autos I also never played. So this is another game iteration that I hardly ever play. I think I did play it, but then I didn't really have my own computer, so I really didn't play it that much. But yeah, nice pick.
I think a lot of people played it on the PlayStation 1 at that moment in time. It was one of the biggest titles around that time. But art and graphics were way better on the PC. Had so much more depth and atmosphere to it. But yeah, had to pick this one.
Okay, want to go for my last pick?
Yeah, the 80s.
Yeah, I was looking something. I was looking connection from what we did of the last episode. So I picked Metroid. Why did I pick Metroid? Metroid it created the term Metrovania styled games. And of course, last episode we talked about Hollow Knight Silksong coming out. And yeah, Metroid is like one of the founders of that genre, going platformer, explore, non-linear map design. Which was all kind of different things, right? And it spawned so many other games. And what I really find fun and is Metroid, I did play it, but didn't play it that much, and it was way back. But what I find fun is, especially if you're looking at like for what 35 years ahead, is that this kind of type of games in basically a new suit are still fairly popular. If you're looking at how Hollow Knight and Hollow Knight Silksong is doing, there was another game that somebody put forward to. There's a lot of these kind of games coming out that follow that style. So the thing is that it actually enhances they did it so many times ago, and that people are just picking that the base and then trying to expand on that and doing that very successfully these days, that it really is popular. The thing is that if you're looking at all the 3D AAA games and then a simple 2D platformer is just overachieving those kind of games, it's like how does that make sense? It doesn't, but it does say if the core gameplay is good, people will play it, even if it's 2D or something like that. It doesn't need to always have to be. It needs to be fun.
I absolutely agree. And if you were saying that, I don't know, 20 years ago, people would find you crazy because we probably mostly have triple A games, and it was really hard to stand out as an indie game. But now you have these platforms which are boosting, and like Steam, those indie gamers or indie publishers. And then you see that it only the gameplay and the quality only survives. And I love it because then it only comes down to game design and how much effort you have put in. And
Totally agree.
with regards to Metroid, I think they stepped away of the more linear approach. And it's quite impressive for a game in that era to try something like that and still have that puzzle and action combined in a way.
Yeah. And there's still a lot of things that are coming out, like Metroid Prime 4 is stated to release somewhere in December, so there's still a lot
Yes.
of games based on Metroid coming out. And there have been a lot of games in like Samus being something like as well, and especially when the reveal when that Samus was a girl. It's like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like, how can this be? Different time, different way of thinking, but yeah. So there's still a lot of coming about for Metroid there. So it's coming out. So trying to link them together a little bit.
Cool. Talking about linking, I'm gonna link a game as well.
Are you really gonna make that pun?
The Legend of Zelda, 1986.
Gonna link them as well. Jesus.
I'm a dad, so I'm allowed to make dad jokes.
Yeah, but that was just worst of the worst, right? It's like, really, you should be sent. It's like, now you're definitely going to go to hell, mate.
So this is the first 2D open world adventure game of Zelda. Got the whole IP and the franchise running. And you got so much freedom. You just, if you start up the game, you were just thrown in the world and just, well, go have fun. No sword, no items, nothing. Okay,
Good luck.
what do I have to do? And and you just walk around, and the map is enormous, and you have, I think, top of my head, 9 dungeons that you have to beat.
9?
And you do have to do it in a linear fashion, sort of, because you need to have certain items to get to a certain dungeon. Otherwise, you cannot beat the monster and the boss. But all the things that you are nowadays familiar with could be seen already in these original versions. So stepping into a dungeon, getting a certain item to do a puzzle, beat a certain boss in a certain fashion with certain items or in a certain way, get the Triforce. I don't think that's particular. Well, it is a Zelda thing, but you don't see it in all the Zelda games anymore. They had an animated series as well on the television.
I remember that one. That's all.
Yeah. And it brought up the immersion for me as well. Next to Mario, I think this was just a key IP franchise that they brought to the table with doing something completely different. I think everything that I love about a Zelda, this one already had it. Do I have to put something negative to the table?
Don't.
There was no guard railing whatsoever or any type of hints where to go. When you start, you have to go into the first door to get your sword. If you did not do that, you could not progress. And it's, for me, it's quite obvious, but I gave it to my kids, so my eldest, and he was saying, "What do I need to do, Dad?" Yeah, I'm not going to tell you. Just figure it out. And he was just walking around the whole map. I'm not kidding, the whole map, and the map is huge. Trying to figure out what he needed to do. Well, the only thing he had to do was just start and walk across the
Run
and walk
into,
in
get
the
your
door.
sword, and then start.
I had fun. And it was, the challenges were cool, interesting. The second iteration was shitty. I'm sorry to say that, but this one is still top tier for me, Zelda.
No, you don't see it in the background, but you have the golden version, right?
Yeah, it's over there.
Yeah, I hardly have seen it. Okay, last section, which I hate. Thank you for that.
No, I love. So, last section, save, retry, achievement, install, and game over. So, achievement is 100% completion rate. Install is at least try it once. I made notes because I learned from last time. So, you had Super Fantasy Kingdom, Zelda Breath of the Wild, Star Trek Armada 2, StarCraft, and Metroid. Right?
And
I had Cascadia, Red Dead Redemption 2, Carcassonne, Grand Theft Auto 2, and the last one is The Legend of Zelda. So
Yeah, I hate you.
I'm gonna say, based on what you're describing, I want to install Super Fantasy Kingdom. I would say, and this is hard for me because I haven't completed it yet, but I have to. So this is kind of a prediction for me, but I would say achievement for Zelda Breath of the Wild.
No, I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check those chord sheets, man.
No, I would say no, 100% completion rate, as in this. There is no fault to this game, but I'm not gonna do all the cork seeds. No, I'm not that crazy. I will finish the game, but I will not gonna go for 100% completion rate. And then we have save, game over, and reach. I would save StarCraft because it has so many good memories. And then I would say retry for Metroid. And then, Star Trek Armada 2, game over. I think there are so many good strategy games out there. So.
Nah, you suck. For me, it's game over for Grand Theft Auto.
2? Grand Theft Auto 2?
To be honest, the thing is that Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out. That's already being hyped, and everybody is saying, like, I'm going to take off a week. Like, the whole world's probably going to play that. Which one am I going to save? I'm going to save Cascadia. The thing is that I'm contemplating of achievement Legend of Zelda, because I want to install Red Dead Redemption.
Okay.
Make sense?
Red Dead Redemption, yes, is install.
And Carcassonne, a retry. It's like it. I think it didn't really age that well, or doesn't come to the table that much. Maybe because it's a bit too simple.
Okay.
I would say they maybe like retry a little bit, like add some things in there. So I would say that. I think that's a fair assumption of your list. Do you agree with that, or
So the Legend of Zelda is achievement, right?
Yeah. I would also give that to Red Dead Redemption, but I also wanted to have something for install. And to be honest,
live with this.
I wouldn't want to want to go through Legend of Zelda again, or not specifically. But if I look like which one I really want to play, I would love to play Red Dead Redemption more than Legend of Zelda.
Okay, that's a fair one. If you were to say game over for Red Dead Redemption, then I would have killed you. And then
the internet would have killed me. That's very simple. Things that there are easier ways to kill stuff.
That was it for this episode. Let us know in the comments what you think, or if we missed something, or we're completely wrong and stupid. Yes, call
completely
us out.
Off base. It's like you suck. Why did you finish this game, Andrew? Just do it.
What? You're throwing me on the bus again. Why?
Because there is a bus and there is an uncompleted Zelda game.
Fair. Okay, but I'm progressing.
Do it faster. If I can put 20 hours in 5 days in one game, you finish Zelda.
Don't forget to like and subscribe if you leave our podcast episodes. And don't forget to create some gaming memories.
Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.